Hello everybody and welcome to another community fortress. This is the fortress of Dyecontrolled, sent in by Wholesome Shadow on the Discord. If you would like to send in a fortress for me to have a look at on this show, you can do that via my Discord server. There is a link down in the description of this video. It may take me a couple weeks to get to your fort depending on how much of a backlog I currently have. Currently it's a little bit empty, sometimes it gets kind of busy, and if other content gets in the way, this series does take a backseat so I can get news and other important things out. So if there is a break between videos in this series, don't panic, it's not gone anywhere, and don't worry, I've probably already downloaded your fort because I download them as they're posted. So it'll sit in the folder until it's ready to go. I try and keep them in order, but sometimes things get pushed out of order or I just get the order wrong upon uploading. But all that being said, this is Wholesome Shadow's first attempt at a real fort after learning the game, so we're going to be kind of rolling through this one and having a look-see, shall we? Now, they do have a little write-up here, which I would like to read, where they talk about a story of playing this fort. They said that they were dreaming that they were playing this fort and thought that it was destroyed via magma leak. Basically, they dreamed that the fort was destroyed, and this caused them to gaslight themselves into thinking that it was destroyed. This fort has been left by the wayside, they write, and I did some interesting things with it. I think it's safe to say that when dwarven mothers of the Northwest sing the stories of ancestors to their children to sleep, they may tell them the tale of the island off the coast, ruled by a tyrannical necromancer, where monstrous beasts are kept like pets. So this is a tiny little fortress off in the middle of nowhere of the ocean, which I generally advise people not to set up forts in, because often it can lead to minimal migrants and trouble trading. At least it did in the past, but this fortress seems to have thrived quite well. So let's dive in and take a peek now, shall we? Now, it is on a volcano, which is completely surrounded by trees. Chopping down any of these trees would be a fire risk, I would think, because if logs splash down into here and cause some lava to splash out, then the entire mountain would burn down. But as we scroll down the side of the hill, we can see the actual entryway. So there's a few different ways in. There's this little spot here with some traps and some more battlements over there and a couple of ballista at the end, and I'm assuming ballista arrows, although I don't see many in storage there. I do assume that they'd be able to fire off a good few at the very least before enemies would get to them, so that is a decent method of defending things. Now over here we have one of the biggest horse pastures I've ever seen. You don't generally see people breeding horses in Dwarf Fort. Lots of horses and water buffaloes specifically. I'm sure they're quite happy there. A little trading spot here, and as well as viewports to make sure that nothing bad is getting in, and then a side door over there, and from what I can guess, this is just the entryway into where they're farming. Now, keep in mind, if you farm on the surface like this, or just dirt that has moss growing on it, or just dirt in general, you do get 1/5 of the efficiency as putting mud onto stone floors, or alternatively, farming in the caverns. But let's check out this legendary fortress, quite literally ruled by the Countess of Dyecontrolled, a necromancer, of course. So we do have a good number of dwarves in here, including, you know, your captain of the guard, your dungeon master, your militia commander, and a good number of captains. It's quite a well-run fortress for a necromancy, I think, for a necromancer situation, I think. Now, there's some pretty confusing stairs here, so I was kind of panning around here earlier, looking at the fort before recording, and kind of going, man, stuff just kind of goes everywhere around here. We've really kind of got this, so it goes down here, right? It goes along here, goes up here, and then runs past this guy, who's going to go eat, and then it just kind of goes all over the place. So I'm not entirely sure where exactly I'm supposed to follow, but man, does it ever go everywhere. There's a set of catapults over here for training. Fun fact, catapults do not friendly fire, so you can fire them at your own dwarves at your leisure. And I'm assuming they just kind of bring baddies into here eventually to then gurgle them with lava, I think, is kind of the situation here. This is one of these forts which is a little bit difficult to kind of look at as a layman just glancing at it, because frankly, I don't know what the author's intention is with a lot of these rooms and a lot of these spaces. So there's a lot of rooms here that just are kind of here. But as a, like, you know, a nightmare run by a necromancer, shall we say, it kind of is fitting. I mean, we've got these forbidden doors with lava flows behind them. Who knows what took place there? We've got space where you could very easily cause controlled eruptions, I'm assuming for enemies to get burned, and a lot of other fun things. Over here in the actual fortress itself, it's full of geese and kittens, which is very fitting, as well as this Well, he's sleeping, I'm sure. He'll wake up eventually. Anyway, over here we have the Hall of Lace, which is a Crafts Dwarf's Guild Hall. We have several other, the Rosy Pelt, as well as the Livid Wanderer, several other guild halls, as well as a very legendary guild hall, the Farmers Guild Hall, the Grand Guild Hall of the the Sunny Scales, as well as some temples and the general normal things that you will catch around a fortress. Now, we do have a little dungeon assigned here. We have a farmer who's in prison, and this poor guy. Sucks to be you, I suppose. And down here we have, well, they're sleeping. Like I said, they'll wake up eventually. We just need the Necromancer to go knock on their door. And then down here we have a very wet well area, but, you know, it's efficient. It works. It does what it needs to do. We've got water coming out of what looks to be an aquifer, as well as a seeming attempt at a water feature kind of running out the front door, although it seems to be blocked for the time being. Once more, the only real thing that's truly terrifying about this fortress is the amount of geese and waterfowl. We have many, many, many temples kind of in a row here. And all of those poor geese are starving. Are these all pets? Okay, a lot of them are. Not all of them. I was just seeing hungry animals. I was like, oh my god. This sheep is a pet, but most of them don't appear to be. And then over here, we have more spaces for mining and, of course, more sleeping cats. I mean, it's great that they're sleeping. We have a space over here, which appears to be a controlled eruption, which is just kind of flown off the side of the map. If you did want to stop this, my best advice would be to go up above it here and make pit ponds kind of around the edge. And then that will actually cause them to bring buckets from your water source and dump the buckets on the lava, and that will seal it off with obsidian. So if you did want to stop the flow there, that would probably be a pretty good way of doing that. I kind of like that most of this fortress is built out of old spaces that were auto-mined out for the most part. At least that's the way it appears on glance. Now, down here, we have this room where something happened, clearly. I'm sure it was fine. Once again, I'm sure they'll wake up eventually. And to this crafts dwarf right here, I definitely wasn't the culprit. I don't think this dwarf did anything wrong. We should really let this dwarf out, I think. I mean, come on, poor guy. What possibly could have happened? They're all just sleeping. They'll wake up. It's fine. Just send in the Necromancer. Anyway, speaking of things that are sleeping, there's lots of things sleeping in all of these stockpiles here, as well as more coffins up here for those who really won't wake up. I mean, won't wake up initially. And then around here we have, I love just like these locked doors with like a skeleton in it. There's something about that that's just really funny. I can't quite keep the guys up for too long. But, you know, they do describe this fortress as a tyrannical nightmare run by a necromancer, and it really gives off that vibe. Like, the design aesthetics and the build of this fortress is very simplistic, so there isn't too much to comment on there, but I will never get tired of just like, oh, it's a locked bedroom with that in it. Like, I love that. That's just fantastic. So there's definitely been fun had in this fort. And then up here at the end, we have a big dormitory and just, you know, tons of bedrooms. As always, there's actually a ton of unassigned bedrooms in here. So if you just go in here and you hit multi and go boink, it'll just automatically create all your bedrooms for you. It's also a really good way to like figure out how many bedrooms are in a fort, is you can just kind of go create all bedrooms, multi, dunk. Okay, how many bedrooms are here? 143 beds were rejected. That I created a dormitory, but you know, it'll tell you how many bedrooms you've selected, although the dormitory there kind of screwed it up. Now down here we have our dungeon master, of course. I think that's more just the fortress master of this fortress because it's more fitting. And then down here we have the necromancer's quarters. You know, not really one for aesthetics, one for simplicity, and of course they want to gaze upon their creations, shall we say. If you spook the necromancer, they will raise things. And I love the fact that this necromancer is insane, meaning like this fortress run by a literal insane necromancer. It's cool. I'm a big fan. More sleeping dwarves on this bed. At least it's on a bed. And then this guy who's here who definitely isn't Burial Schernbach? What was the last name? Own figure. I need to translate the last name, but I'm sure that's fine. Anyway, let's move down. Let's take a look at some other things, and we can kind of scroll down through stuff. Down here we have our magma forges, which seem to be working like decently fine. These poor dwarves. I don't envy them. So we have this lovely little magma forge here, which definitely works. And I like how you can tell that they're kind of like, it was like an oopsie here where it's just like, it's full of lava and it's locked. And then there's a lead wall on top of it. That's fine. Over here, we have a bunch of bins. If we scroll up a little bit, we can move down this stairwell and move down this stairwell And there's, of course, some stuff scattered around in here, I think. Yeah, there is some stuff. So up here, we have this kind of space, which appears to have planned like a lava flow feature or something. We can move down. There's tons of stairs. It's very labyrinthine, that's for sure. Created by a mad dwarf, indeed. Moving down, moving down, moving down, moving down. Through the first cavern layer. Down into the animal taming area in the cavern. Pretty large military down here, 2 squads assigned. Good stuff. And keep moving down. And looks like the Necromancer had some plans for basement excavations, but must have gone mad before they got the chance to properly begin excavating. Lovely little fortress. I'm glad that you had fun with it, and I really do mean it when I say it's awesome to see these little story fortresses where I can just kind of look around and be like, whoops, something happened here, or that's not good. And then, of course, I kind of have this last little central area, which I missed on the first pass, which has, this little dining hall, tavern, the normal things, a bigger hospital, more bedrooms, which is probably where the majority of the dwarves actually live. And then, of course, those temples and spaces kind of around the edges. All in all, it's very much a amateur fort. This is a fortress that somebody made after spending time learning the game, and honestly, I'd say this is a solid first attempt. I look forward to things that you create in the future and tell us some more good stories about insane necromancers. If you would like to see more fortresses like this, maybe more advanced, maybe less advanced, check out this YouTube channel. I've got a huge playlist of these, and if you would like to see more Dwarf Fortress than you can reasonably watch in a lifetime, I got that for you. If you want to see my face while I play video games on the internet, twitch.tv/BLINDIRL. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.